That other lady, I only will bring up because people will assume she made Real Housewives of Atlanta. And what can I say to that? She won't be on my Mount Rushmore. No. No. Okay, you are back with hashtag randomly with Ronnie Jr. Why is it even called that? Hashtag randomly with Ronnie Jr. Because if you are coming across the video here on this platform and other platforms too, but specifically this one, I always encourage you to go to hashtag randomly with Ronnie Jr. because collectively, as I always tell you, I worked in radio since the early 2000s. Collectively, through all of my YouTube channels over the years, not just this one that is now the new podcast, like a YouTube series and all that. There is about 800, 900 videos, all connected and streamlined through hashtag randomly with Ronnie Jr. So if you like anything that's going on, go there and you'll see other stuff that might be interesting to you. Okay, so question and the lecture at hand today. I just simply, and I almost wanted to do, and I'll probably do it with somebody, one of the fantastic co-hosts that I always work with. I, of course, always work with Russell Ray Silva. Go check out his channel. We covered all of Real Housewives of New Jersey and Miami, and other colleagues that I have had on my program. I'll do a who ultimately from each franchise is Real Housewives Mount Rushmore. So that would be tough because you could only pick one. So I don't want to do that one on my own. That way there's not necessarily a bias. I want to get other opinions. But today I really did want to say, because Atlanta has been such a strong show over the course of the years, and yes, shows dip, shows grow and this and that. I mean, I'm one of the few people, I guess, that doesn't really find too many challenging, oh my gosh, Atlanta's not giving what it used to get. I still think it's a great show. I think it's fun. I think what actually happened, and this is a side note I should leave for later, but we're going to get into it now. There is a thing that sort of started to happen because, at the end of the day, it used to be if you had an opinion and you broadcasted it as like a podcaster, it was an opinion only. Then over the years, because everyone is now a public figure, you can do that same opinion on Twitter. And honestly, I don't think it should get that much credibility, but somehow I believe that people think that they are going to sit at their keyboard and almost completely not act like the network, Bravo, Andy Cohen, whoever, don't know what they're doing with their shows. I think, I hate to say it, and this is only coming from my perspective. I've been in the business, radio, production, all of these jobs since the early 2000s. And I'm just saying, yes, networks do like a social media viral moment. Do they care what you think? I don't really think they do. I really don't think they do. I don't think they do. But you, oh my God, the people on Twitter, and I do kind of say a lot of them are not with an agenda, but they have a goal to get their numbers up. I don't play any of that. That's why my numbers aren't exactly, there's no shocking episode. There's no exposing. Now, I know some stuff from working in the business for 20 years, but that's not what I do. I'm actual broadcaster from years ago. And I know you do get tired of hearing me say that, but I'm gonna hit you with it every time. Thank you. 42-year-old, got a little extra weight on me, but it's looking good, and I'm happy. Anyways, the point of that was just because Atlanta isn't as huge as it once was, you could do what you want. You could tweet, waste your own time and tweet about it. Think that the network does actually care about your opinion. And if you're like a YouTuber, podcaster, and it's your way to kind of grow, it ain't how I would want to do it. Like, it's not that. But go for it. I'm not gonna fix my mouth to do an episode where I'm trying to use my voice or my show to want and hope that somebody gets fired. Now, I think Kyle is one of the more boring housewives, but I don't want her to get fired. You know what I mean? Like, it's not what I do. Anyways, I'm not trying to come for anyone else who takes to Twitter with an opinion, takes to Instagram with an opinion, takes to TikTok with an opinion, or is a content creator with an opinion. Everyone do you. I'm saying, and I know a lot of people could agree with me on this, and if you can't, you can explain yourself in the comments. A lot of people, oh, hold on, I have a little, yes, I need to check the old phone to make sure, lots of things going on. A lot of people, I feel, know that, you know, the network don't take it seriously. So do all you want. Feel that you got Lisa Rinna booted from the show. That one's a little bit of a different situation. That was probably not the best example. But my point is, don't waste your time. The network is going to do what the network's going to do. Good or bad, they're going to find the right people. I'm saying that I think Atlanta is actually a significant series still. Then it was pondering in my mind, who is, because you know I love Kandi. I love Kandi. I mean, this is how much I love Kandi. I love Kandi. But I love Kenya Moore. I mean, I talk about Team Twirl, Kenya Moore, all day, every day. The show technically did not start until the Kenya Moore show came through. And she hired the bodyguards, because people are crazy. Miss Lawrence blessed the screen as well. Kenya Moore was that girl from the 90s. If you were there, you were there. I'm 42 years old. We remember the way Kenya moved. And a lot of people will say, well, you know, now it's all the same because they're all on the same show. So, like, they're all, like, the same level. No. Kenya's up here. Kelly Ben Simone. And some of the other gals are down here. Kelly Ben Simone trying to say that to Bethany. But Kandi and Kenya are on another level. Now, I do think sometimes that is a little challenging if you're a cast member. And while I don't really enjoy her, although on Ultimate Girls Trip with Giselle Bryant, I think she was actually quite funny, I will give credit to a housewife. Wasn't my cup of tea ever, outside of the girls trip. Like a Portia, who jumped into the show and really did create a lot of success for herself. I do think that is amazing. And I do think slightly it's a little harder to be like, you know, you are actually living your life. I don't know what, you know, a lot of times people do come on this show and they are already in the business in some degree. But like, it would be hard, like if I started a show and I'm the only one, while I'm talented and while I've done what I've done in this career for a very long time, it would be hard if you put me next to somebody that already has a household name. So I give a little bit of like, I like Kandi and I like Kenya, but that's also because they speak to this language of like so many of my memories, like that just, it comes up quite a bit. Kandi specifically because she is just the boss and because she's worldwide and because who said that? So many reasons about Kandi sort of inspire you, and I like that. And Kenya, oh, the Kenya Moore show. She just is like, you know, you ever look at a quality of yourself and you're like, okay, I got to fix this. I'm good at this. I'm brilliant at this. And you kind of like weigh it out. I kind of feel like when I watched Kenya, and this is with all love being said, because I don't think it gets better than Kenya Moore. Kenya Moore might be the top housewife of the franchise in its entirety. We could talk about that another time. But when I watch it, Kenya Moore sometimes does become difficult to defend because some of her actions are so out there. It's also why she's wonderful TV. Kenya Moore hair care will never be, the stunts that could be tried will never match up to that. Nicole with the credit card at Alexia's and being outshined by Larsa, who was just sitting there. Like, you could try the stunts, you could try the foolery, but you don't do it like Kenya Moore. So anyways, these are like my top Real Housewives of Atlanta gals. And again, I'm giving credibility to that difference between She by Sheree and I'm building up a name as a regular person on this show. And I love She by Sheree. And what it must be like to not go up against, but you know, you're on a show where Kandi is Kandi and has done stuff in this industry, same as Kenya. But even though I'm aware and I acknowledge it, it still doesn't mean that I think less of them. I acknowledge it. I give Portia tons of credibility to build something from nothing. I think that's great. I do wish she could be a tad smarter. That would be that would be valuable. But I wish I could be a tad smarter. So there you go. So it just had made me ponder the question: who is on the Mount Rushmore of Real Housewives of Atlanta? Now, much like the person who sort of is felt to lead New Jersey, and Melissa Gorga and Dolores Catania, just triumph over the gal that nudged the table. She didn't flip the table. She simply nudged it. And she was coming at a woman who wasn't really a physical opponent in that way, and who was also getting it from all ends. Everybody was, so it really wasn't that valuable. But people want to say, the tree stumps want to say, the tree is Jersey. Jersey is Melissa Gorga. Actually, Melissa Gorga, outside of Kenya Moore, might be one of the number one housewives, up there with the Giselle Bryants, with the Larsa Pippins, with the Luann de Lesseps, with the who on Beverly Hills. I like Dorit. Anyways, tangent. Who cares? Who cares about the other franchises? What I'm saying is, I'm getting at Atlanta, much like New Jersey. Some people will feel that lady who ended up on the show Glee, who really quite a flop. I think Claudia Jordan said it best. What a fumble. Do you play football? What a fumble. That other lady I only will bring up because people will assume she made Real Housewives of Atlanta. And what can I say to that? She won't be on my Mount Rushmore. No. She gave the I said what I said, and that's where it stops. That's all. Like, I'm talking again, I think we mentioned this a bit ago, either on this episode or another one. Go watch all my episodes. If you take a lot of shots, you're going to make one or two. If you swing the bat, one day it'll be a home run. So that gal, the one that ended up doing Glee and the whatever other things, and I guess she had a moment. I don't put her on my Mount Rushmore of Real Housewives of Atlanta. I will put She by Sheree up there, though. So on my Mount Rushmore, I can leave it there, and we can add. And this is where it becomes, you tell me, like, do you think it was the gal, that went on to do The Apprentice and had issues with Shar, who's our gal from The View, formerly of The View, Star, what you know the gal, the one she married Al Reynolds. Anyway, you can say her. You can say Kim Zolciak, because they were the early group to the show. Quite frankly, outside of the issue that Phaedra sort of pushed the line in the envelope and it was time for her to leave, I think Phaedra, in terms of, these really funny remarks and just the tone and the Southern belle-ness of it all, Phaedra's up there in a Mount Rushmore, for sure, of Atlanta. I think Cynthia is so regal. I think she, speaks to the language of yesteryear. Again, I said I'm 42 years old. I remember growing up in the 90s. Like, Cynthia Bailey was that, she was something. She meant something. She meant something to my age group. You know what I mean? So she can go up there as well. And I guess there is a question of, does Portia go up there on Real Housewives of Atlanta, the Mount Rushmore? Again, we're just making up this list. This is just complete nonsense. But I do want to know who you think. In my opinion, I'm starting with Candy and the great Kenya Moore. Do you remember when Kenya Moore was on with Michael Rappaport? When I went to go to see Michael Rappaport's live show, when I got to do the meet and greet, the first thing I said is, oh, you got to show more love to Kenya Moore, because I'm such a Kenya Moore super fan. Love Kenya Moore. So that, anyways, so I always get very excited to speak of, Kenya. Somebody told me the other day, recently, this was in an episode? I don't know, but maybe it was just a conversation. Maybe it was even on Instagram. Somebody I know, a friend, a colleague rather, was like, oh my God, randomly Ronnie, you like all the ridiculous girls. And I mean, I like people that are compelling, who came and clocked into the job. Didn't pull the Karen Huger, I'm going to sit on the sidelines, I'm going to wait for mess to happen, and then I'm going to swoop in and come in like Pebbles on the interview with Wendy Williams with a low demeanor energy and say, I am the matronly figure, and I think we should all get along. Now, there's nothing wrong with Pebbles, but Pebbles had the issues with TLC, and the way she portrayed herself in that Wendy Williams interview has always been funny to me, and it's always made me, it reminded me each and every time. I'm like, that's the same gimmick that Karen Huger does. She will sit on the sideline. She will sit so on the sideline that like people in production are more prominent and funny and charismatic than her. But she'll wait for the mess to happen, the people that did clock in. And then she'll come in and, oh, Candace, I need to welcome you in, and I need to give you tough love as a a motherly figure. We want to see women build each other up. like Karen is nonsense. I actually should like Karen a lot better. And by the way, when the show initially, and I know we're talking about Atlanta, when the show initially began, I used to say this. When the show initially began, I said, Karen actually should be a high number 2, right under Giselle. But Karen plays herself sometimes. So that's the only thing. But Karen does have a supposedly loving, allegedly loving relationship and all that stuff. And I think that stuff's great. So Karen actually, will say it like this. Karen for sure would be on the Mount Rushmore of Real Housewives of Potomac. And maybe we'll do an episode on that at some point. But I need your help to do who is the Mount Rushmore of Real Housewives of Atlanta. And we're building this out. So we have not finished. We have not decided. But I'm putting Kenya and Candy always getting the bag, Burris, in the Mount Rushmore of Real Housewives of Atlanta. So 2 things I need in terms of how we can come up with this answer. And again, what are we doing this for? What are we doing this for? We're doing this because we're bored and we're watching, silly commentary about this silly show. But I need you to do 2 things. I need who is on the Mount Rushmore of Real Housewives of Atlanta. That's number 1. Number 2, to do that, to qualify it, what are the iconic moments from that person? You know what I mean? Like, so let's say, and I'm going super early. There's 1,000 things that Giselle Bryant did on Potomac, but when Giselle Bryant said, after Karen tried to tell her, it was not with the proper etiquette and decorum that you sat in the center when it was my birthday. To which Giselle said, but you were an hour and a half late. That's number 1. Number 2, you didn't even tell me at the time. So if you had an issue, you should have spoke your mind when it was time. And beyond that, you came with this tacky gift. And Giselle, as she said it right on the show. Initially, she said, and people want to knock the wig, but I think Giselle is beautiful, and we're just going to let that be. Giselle, season 1, very fit. Giselle now, amazing. I love it all. Go ahead, Giselle. But anyways, to the point, Karen thought she was going to give her a gift that was insanely petty and tacky, all of that. And Giselle said, I'll play along. And she took the mirror, or whatever it was like a mirror with some words or something like that. And she took the mirror and she said, well, I'll just use this because it was supposed to be intended to make Giselle feel like, oh, you could learn a thing or 2 about etiquette, class, and decorum, but it had a mirror. So Giselle took that. And Larsa should have done that when Nicole did that uninvite. I totally think Larsa should have done that, because if you come at me with some silly stuff, I could only play to the silly level that you're giving me. So it was so silly that Karen Huger, Miss Etiquette, wanted to tell Giselle how it should go. And Giselle caught that mirror. I mean, it was a frame or something like that, but it had a reflection. She put it right to herself, and she said, I love this, Karen. I am beautiful, or something like that. So if you're going to put somebody on the Mount Rushmore, give a couple iconic scenes. That's not the only iconic scene from Giselle, obviously, but give a reason. You know, for me, it's like Kenya with the, going to Cynthia Bailey's modeling agency with the bodyguard. Kenya Moore with the Kenya Moore hair care at Marlowe's event. Like, these things, put in the comments, what is the thing that qualifies, the person to be on the Mount Rushmore of the Real Housewives of Atlanta. And it could be anybody. You can feel... Deshaun and Lisa Wu early on. You can feel Kim Fields. You could feel Kim Fields. Like, whoever is your person, this is not about dividing, what you could think it is, that gal Lanithia. You could, all of it is fine. But there's just been a ton of cast members. You could think it's Claudia Jordan. You know what I mean? Like, it can be anybody, really. So just put who is the Mount Rushmore of Real Housewives of Atlanta. We'll talk about it, and then we'll move on with our lives, because this is just all in fun commentary on a Bravo reality show that sort of brings us all together, and that is insanely fun. Now, you're supposed to like, comment, and subscribe, or something like that. Mm-hmm. And since I'm not going to say it, we do have a word. So let's go to...
Well, hello there. Thank you for watching and supporting the show with my good friend, Randomly Ronnie Jr. Who the hell am I? Great question. My name is Mark Rodriguez with Mastermind Media, and I wanted to take just a moment of your time to let you know about all the other incredible things this guy, Randomly Ronnie Jr. has going on. But first, before we get into that, please comment, like, and subscribe. That is how he grows here on these channels. But one channel you probably don't know about is patreon.com/Randomly Ronnie Jr., where he's got a bunch more exclusive content. So please check that out. But speaking of YouTube, let's go back to YouTube for a second. He's got this hashtag, Randomly with Ronnie Jr., and it shows all of his stuff in his days in radio from back in the day, all the way up to present day, and his new interviews, podcasts, just videos across the board. So please check that out, because when you think about content creators, there's millions of content creators, but there's only one, Randomly Ronnie Jr. Let's get back into the show.
Okay. Thank you, Mark. Yes. Patreon.com/Randomly Ronnie Jr. If you are a Real Housewives of Atlanta cast member and you came across this information, I think there's only one way to say thank you. And that is comment, like, and subscribe. But hit that Patreon and, make it rain. There is a tier for $25 if you just want to support me. And I think that's nice. Because the career, it's a struggle. You got your ups and you got your downs. You got your ups and you got your downs. But I do enjoy where we're at now. I enjoy what is being built. I enjoy just fun commentary, typically on my channel versus a lot of other content creators, and everyone can do what they want. There's not a lot of we've got a story from Marlo Hampton exposing the chi that... It's like, how do you know? How do you even know? How do you know? But again, I got to let people do what they do. The marketplace and the landscape is crazy, but I would like to think that you think that I do my episodes in just a different way, in a way from a guy that comes from radio from all those years ago, who's been involved in radio even in New York City, with the great Miss Jones. On 94.7 The Block, a little part-time contribution to that. And all the stuff I've done over the years, I would like to think that there's something really fun and a reason for you to come back. Now, while I think Lanithia is overrated, she's overrated. Were we laughing with her or were we laughing at her? It's maybe where I would start that conversation. But maybe she's a lovely human being. So we're going to keep it very sweet and nice. And I hope you have a beautiful day. I hope you feel beautiful. I hope that whatever is going on in your world, I was talking to somebody recently about this. Show up with your level of confidence regardless. So if your money's not right, don't turn yourself down. If you have put on a couple extra pounds, wear them the right way. You know, I have gained a little weight, but I'm still the baddest in the room, like Giselle Bryant used to say. Wherever I sit, wherever I sit is the baddest place in the room. Oh, the great Giselle Bryant. But whatever is the thing, you know, lots of people creatively, even, you know, with some of the stuff that goes on and in the, you know, with the writers and the, you know, the unions and stuff, like so much is going on. And I just want, hopefully, I don't know why I'm doing a public service announcement after I'm doing the Real Housewives of Atlanta, who is the Mount Rushmore of the cast. I just want everyone to put a level of confidence in what they do, despite it, all the stuff that you could potentially be going through. Because here's what it is. These are just momentary things. That little roller coaster, up, down, you know, highs of highs, lows of lows. That is just sometimes things that happen. But don't give anyone else the satisfaction. You know what I mean? Like, you could feel like, I personally want to do this and change this and travel abroad, learn a new language, get a fitness regimen, just, you know, study and learn and become a yoga teacher, whatever it is. You could have your things that are now shortcomings that you're working for. I mean, listen, I want to be a sous chef and I will work for it. But I don't think, while we're not popping, if you look back at your life and there's a lot on that table, I don't even know what that means, but there's a lot that you have brought to the table over the years, don't let the moment now that isn't really thriving define you. Because I certainly don't. I will say it today and I will say it every day. I'm amazing, I'm beautiful, I'm confident. Let's go. Hit the Patreon. Let's if you want to go, let's really go. Patreon.com/randomlyRonnie Jr. Please make it rain on the Patreon. And if you could, at the very least, go to #randomlywithRonnie Jr. and you could see a plethora of videos that I have done since working in the radio industry in the early 2000s. In total, I think we're at about 900 videos. So that's all different walks of life. That's me working at several radio stations. That's me creating a podcast. It's just a lot. So there's got to be something in there that you like. Now, if you watch all 900 and you're like, oh, he is awful, well, then I'm like, unsubscribe in that case. But I think there's something for everybody. That is the goal. That is the goal. That is why I've worked as hard as I've worked. And that is why I have fun doing what I'm doing. And I think that also might be why I relate to Candy and Kenya. Ooh. This is like a therapeutic moment. We're out here. Until the next time, #randomly with Ronnie Jr. Talk to you later.
Hey, Ronnie Jr.